North. Watch this spin move and the and one finish against Al Horford and Joel Embiid. Scotty, is there anything Siakam can't do right now?
No, I mean, he is on a high. I mean, this kid is unstoppable right now, and I think that it's still a lot of room for improvement.
No, that's the scary part.
Just to think, a few months ago, he was struggling hard against the Sixer team, and then last night just dominated them like they didn't even exist.
I know, and there's another storyline from that game we'll get to in a little bit. Welcome to The Jump. I'm George Sedano, in for our fearless leader, Rachel Nichols, alongside ESPN NBA front office insider Amin Elhassan, and Basketball Hall of Famer and six-time NBA champion, Scottie Pippen. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll be trusting the process. Or should the Sixers be trusting the process? Took a little hit last night with Joel Embiid being shut down by the defending champs. Is there cause for pause? But first, let's take a look at the Lake Show. The Lakers won their 8th straight in San Antonio Monday behind 33 points and 14 assists from LeBron and another good shooting game from LA. They've made 43% of their threes the last 5 games. Here's LeBron explaining in the postgame why the offense is working right now.
We have a lot of options when we have a lot of guys that can, make shots. But at the end of the day, when we put the ball on the ground, we attract eyes. And when you attract eyes, you got numbers on the weak side. And, you want to pass up a good shot to get a great shot. It just makes everyone feel so much more important to the offense and to the rhythm of the game when you're making extra passes.
So LA has established a top 5 defense, and now the shooting is picked up. So, Scotty, is the key to the Lakers' success offense or defense?
I feel like it's just their defense, and I didn't think I would be sitting here saying that, but when you got 2 of the best players in the game offensively, in LeBron and AD, you would think that this team is driven on just scoring a lot of points, but it's really been about them stopping. You look at LeBron and some of the highlight films, how he runs back, stops transition opportunities for other teams. So it's about them protecting the paint, and when you're talking about winning an NBA title, that man right there wearing number 23 knows that it starts on the defensive end.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things to success. Offense, defense, how about their schedule, right? They've been playing really bad teams. The last, San Antonio, way below 500. Memphis, way below 500. Oklahoma City twice, way below 500. Atlanta, way below 500. Sacramento, below 500. Golden State, the worst team in the NBA. So those are the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games they played in this 8-game winning streak. But to answer the question, absolutely it's the defense. Sam Amick of The Athletic had a really nice article today about their kind of Vogel coming in and putting his defensive imprint, something that LeBron praised him for from his time in Indiana, saying Indiana's one of the toughest teams they used to play against when he was with the Heat. But I think the biggest thing here is LeBron's played 35 minutes in 13 out of 17 games, including some of these games in this stretch right here. It's great that he's doing it, and it's great that he's playing defense on both ends. That's awesome. But I got to wonder, in November, if you need LeBron to play 36, 37, 38 minutes to beat the Grizzlies by 1, what does that mean later on in April, May, and June? Because, George, as you know, we haven't seen LeBron play this hard on the defensive end since his
Miami years, yeah.
I mean, his last year in Miami, he didn't play like this.
Right, it was the previous years.
Yeah, so
yeah.
There's at some point there's a bill that's going to show up in the mail. I wonder if the Lakers are going to be able to pay it.
I don't think there's a wall for LeBron James.
No, I
think the sky's the limit. I know, but as a player, and I played for a while in this league, when you get up around that age, you're in the prime. And LeBron James right now is in the prime of his career. He is managing his body better. He's managing his minutes, and he's managing his possessions out on the basketball floor. Yes, he's still running on court and stopping guys in transition, but just the ability to be a better floor general out on the basketball court, putting guys in the right position to be successful, that's what I see in LeBron James right now. And I feel like these 35 minutes are not hard minutes on his body. He's really managing his moments out there on the court and picking his time to turn it on.
To your point, Scotty, I think with age, right, experience, all that comes together, and you do know your body better. Yes. He kind of joked yesterday, maybe it's the wine that he's drinking that has allowed it, but the fact that he knows how his body will react to certain things, whether it's, a meal or a glass of wine or anything, all that comes with experience. So I think to Scotty's point, that makes some sense. But to your point about Vogel and Sam Amick's article, look, Vogel preached defense from day one in camp, and we all kind of laughed a little bit like, okay, you're going to get LeBron to play defense in November, but he did. And he deserves a ton of credit for that. And Anthony Davis deserves a lot of credit, too, because remember, he came out and said, I'm going to hold LeBron accountable from the get-go.
He did.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you look at this team, what are the challenges can they put in front of themselves? I mean, they got two of the best offensive players in the game.
Right.
And they are unstoppable each and every night if they want to be.
Yeah.
But they choose to sacrifice and play hard on the defensive end and make the game fun for other guys. This team is scoring a lot of points in transition, which tells me that they're doing a lot on the defensive end.
And they're the only team, I believe, that boasts 2 top 5 players on their roster right now.
Yeah.
The Clippers are close, I think, potentially, but I think the Lakers are that one team. And LeBron is on the revenge tour. There's clearly no issues with that. Like, we've seen it now.
6 months off helps, I guess.
Yeah, whatever it took. But he said he was coming, and he's here. All right, next, the Sixers lost a nail-biter last night to the Raptors, but the biggest surprise was Joel Embiid's point total. 0. Embiid had his first career scoreless game, missing all 11 shots. So far this season, the Raptors have already held LeBron to 13 points, Kawhi to 12, and Damian Lillard to 9, all season lows. So, Amin, is Embiid's scoreless game cause for pause?
In the grand scheme of things, no. It's 82 games. It's like we want to panic about it, but in the reality, it's in the trash can and you move on to the next game. But a player of his caliber should never have 0 points. He may have 0 field goals made. He may have a terrible night. He should never have 0 points unless they triple team him every game, every play, in which case he should have had 17 assists. But he's got to be able to get to the free throw line. He's got to be able to make free throws and score points that way. We see James Harden all the time have 3 of 17, 3 of 20 shooting nights.
Inefficient nights.
But he's at the free throw line 10, 11, 12 times. There's not a player in this league who's physically capable of guarding Joel Embiid, like straight up, and not getting into some foul trouble. So he's got to do better. But in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really mean much.
No, I don't think it means much. I mean, this is part of the NBA, and there's going to be nights when there's ups and downs, and you're traveling and things of that nature, and you just can't get the ball to go in. But as Amin said, he's too good of a player to allow this to happen. You got to find a way to score. Didn't get to the foul line but 3 times and missed those. And somewhere within that game, he lost his confidence and his will to want to score. So,
Scotty, how much credit should we give the Raptors, though, with the way they're playing? You know, they're the defending champs, no Kawhi. Most people were like, they'll be okay. But, you know, they're right in the mix in the Eastern Conference right now.
Well, they deserve all the credit because they the one snatched his heart last night.
Right.
They took his confidence, and they were, they contested every shot, made it very difficult for him to get to the rim. So they deserve all the praise here.
This is a, top 5, top 10?
There's 6 defensive rating, yeah.
This isn't an accident. Last night wasn't a fluke. Obviously, a big portion of it is Embiid. He's, like we say, he got to be more aggressive, but he didn't do this against a team that got lucky. He did this against one of the best defensive teams in the league.
Defending champs.
And the defending champs. And I got to go
pride there.
Well, talk about pride. Go back to what Nick Nurse talked about when they asked him, hey, Stanley Johnson and Rondae Hollis-Jefferson are not playing. Is it hard for them to get accustomed? He said, no, we have standards defensively. And if you don't live up to them, you don't play. And you see that. That's how they maintain the integrity of their defense, by holding guys accountable like that.
Nick Nurse, a North American treasure, obviously, here in the NBA. But, look, a lot of people questioned him a little bit, too. Like, he got the most out of that team last year, but the question is always, can you be consistent with that stuff? How do you believe he's fared thus far early on this season?
Tremendous. I mean, again, Nick was, for full disclosure, Nick was our G League affiliate head coach when I was in Phoenix. So I've known Nick for a long time. I've known a couple of guys on staff, Nate Bjorken. And so these guys are extra prepared and very creative, and, they're problem solvers. So I'm not surprised at all. I think the biggest story is Pascal Siakam, what he's become as a player. Because even last year, I remember we interviewed him on the radio, and he said, I never imagined I'd be this good. This was last year he said that. Yeah. So now he's even probably doubled what he did last year as far as caliber of play. As a number 1 option, being able to produce that many points per game efficiently and still be great defensively, you got to give it up to him.
Pascal Siakam may be most improved player 2 years in a row and could be an MVP candidate, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, and you have to give credit to what Nick Nurse has been able to create there. He's been able to create a culture there. Even losing Kawhi, for anyone who didn't watch this team a year ago, wouldn't even know that they lost a MVP from the finals. So they've created a culture there. They're fun to watch, and they play hard, they play together. And that's what makes winning basketball.
And producing without Kyle Lowry,
Yeah.
Without Serge Ibaka, both
true.
of those guys hurt. And by the way, people forget, Danny Green was a big part of that
Yeah,
team.
that's an excellent point.
Team
Yeah.
as well.
Right.
Yeah, and they supplement through the G League. I know you talked about that a couple weeks ago as well. So, all right,
to the G League.
staying in the East, the Bucks improved their winning streak to 8 games behind 50 from the Greek Freak, including 32 in the second half. Milwaukee outlasted Utah to continue the streak, and despite not having Chris Middleton for the last 7 games, they've still been rolling. So, Scotty, what's the bigger deal? Giannis getting 50 or the Bucks' 8-game win streak?
Well, I think it's Giannis getting 50. You know, I think a year ago we would say Giannis would probably settle for a 30, 35-point game because late in the games he's not going to be that aggressive offensively. But we're seeing a new beast this year. He's unleashing a lot of different parts of his game. He's shooting the 3 ball, still not making it a high percentage, but the defense have to respect it now because he will take those shots. But I think this guy's scoring 50 points a night, and the sky's the limit in terms of his growth and development going forward. This is scary.
I mean, what are you seeing differently from Giannis this year?
Well, like Scotty said, he's taking the 3, and I think that's a huge step. People are saying, well, he's shooting only, some odd percentage or whatever. He's not shooting 40%. But you can't jump from nothing to being one of the great 3-point shooters. The first step between that is to be able to confidently take it and make it. And we saw that last night. He had a couple pull-ups against Utah, which is a pretty good defensive team. That's the first step, and it started really in the playoffs last year. But as he continues to become more comfortable just taking that shot within the flow of the offense, it's going to come more naturally to him because his stroke isn't broken. He's got a nice stroke, so I think we better watch out. But this is how spoiled I am. I'm like, I'm not really that impressed by the 50-point. I'm like, what? The Bucks are winning. Chris Middleton is on this thing winning. I'm more impressed by that. Although,
their depth is good.
Their schedule also. If I'm going to say about the Lakers, I'm going to say about the Bucks. The
Right.
schedule's a couple Atlantas in there. What you got? Some Chicago, some Oklahoma City, some Portland, Detroit. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm impressed when a guy can score 50 points and he's not particularly a 3-point shooter in today's game.
Yeah.
So, he's going to be a guy that's going to shoot in the high 50s, probably 60%.
They used to do it all the time in your day, Scotty.
That is true. That is true. They used to do it back then.
Now that's a big deal.
It is a little bit of a big deal.
There you go. Coming up next, our fearless leader, Rachel Nichols, sits down with Celtics GM Danny Ainge to talk Kemba, Kyrie, and who was to blame for Boston's struggles last season. But first, it's time for our distant replay from this date in 2003, featuring one of Amin's favorite players.
It's Vince Carter.
Is it?
Oh, yes,
there it is.
I was at this game.
No way.
Yes, I was. Yes, I was.
Oh, wow.